Well, hello and welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. A little different that you'll notice because I have this very beautiful soul sitting next to me and I'm so excited. So she's traveled all the way up from Canberra so that we can also do this interview live. So I want to introduce to you the very beautiful Kylie James. So,
hi there, how are you? It's so nice to be here with you.
I am so excited. So Kylie and I connected last year and at one of my events and just instantly connected. Very, very similar story, working in corporate. We've just left corporate and started our own coaching business. But she was also one of the very beautiful souls that went into the #1 bestseller on Amazon, Inspired Life co-authored book. So we're going to do things a little bit differently today. We're going to have a really soulful chat and we're going to just talk about life, business, everything about it, because I know so many of you out there thinking of leaving corporate, and we both know the challenges with that. So I'm going to hand it over to Kylie. She's going to do a quick introduction and then we're going to dive in deep and ask lots and lots of questions.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everybody. So, yep, my name's Kylie and I currently live in Canberra in Australia, for those who aren't in Australia. My business is called Kylie James Coaching and I've been running that for about just over 12 months now. I was doing it as a side hustle, mainly because there was something more that I wanted out of life than just my corporate job. But the more and more I did that, the more and more I realised that that's actually what I wanted to do versus what I was doing in the corporate space. So last year I decided to put in my notice, and this year I finished up in February in my job. And so for the last 7 weeks I've been hanging out by myself with my business, but probably one of the biggest things is I've been able to collaborate with some amazing people like Christine, just doing the same thing and just having fun. So yeah, it's been a really exciting time, to be honest, and it's a big decision to make, like Christine said, and you do go through a roller coaster of emotions, but oh gosh, already I can feel how much it's worth it. So yeah.
I love that. And I think that, you know, when I guess I asked the question a little while ago and so many people responded, it's like when you know your why, but it's not just a business why, it's your own personal why of what you're here for, because I think we all come here for a particular thing. Now it doesn't, you know, and everyone goes, oh, you know, we all have to play big. I'm like, you have to do what's right for you, like feel it in your soul of what you're here to do. And sometimes it takes us a while. Like it was in my 40s that I actually realized what I was actually here to do. So some people get it early, some people, you know, it might come later, but when you dig deep, did you feel that when you really dug deep of what your why was, what you're here for, it made the decision for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about doing the inner work. You can say whatever you like, but if you don't feel it, it's not going to happen, to be honest. And you can try and do it by yourself. But I think the thing that I realised is I needed some people to help nudge me along the way that I had either done it before or were doing it or could help you do that inner work to find your why. And my big why was freedom. Freedom and fun were my two big whys. And once I realised that, I thought, okay, well, how do I get that? How do I get more of that in my life? And it doesn't mean that you need to leave corporate. That's actually not always the answer for everybody, but for me it was. And yeah, once you know what your why is, it's really hard to not go for it. It's like this pull, it's you gravitated towards it, and it's really hard to put the brakes on, to be honest. So
absolutely. I also find that why, because look, let's be honest. I always say that life is like a roller coaster. We go up and down, backwards and forwards. You know, it's simply a ride that we have to learn to enjoy. But having that why allows us to continue, especially when those you know, even in the high moments too, because we can get so carried away with all the amazing things happening, but it comes and keeps us grounded as to why we're here. But even in those lull times, because, you know, things happen in life, things happen in business. So knowing that why, I actually think it allows us to keep us going and to keep on the right track.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's your bread and butter. It's what keeps you steady. Yeah, 100%. And even walking into you know, an entrepreneur type of role now rather than being in corporate, you know, it's not going to be easy, and you hear a lot of stories around, oh, you know, there's good times and bad times, and you just need to ride the wave. But the biggest thing is you've just got to trust yourself and trust that why, like you're saying, is strong enough within you that you will just keep going no matter what it, you know, no matter what's happening. So
yeah, absolutely. You and I have both done quite a lot in personal development, even before we decided to step into the entrepreneurial space.
Yeah.
And I always say to anybody who comes to work with me that if you're going to start a business, it's going to be the biggest personal development lesson that you will ever go through. Yeah. Have you felt that?
Oh, 100%. Even just like the last 12 months, I think I've invested. You know, I've always invested and haven't shied away from spending money to invest in myself, to better myself, to be the best person that I can be. But it's even more so when you are in your own business, because it's you, it's your name, it's your brand, and what you want to do is build you to be the best person that you can be for your clients and for yourself. And so you have to invest, you have to do the work, whether it be soul work, like, you know, you were just talking about before, or whether it's actually just going to a course to learn how to do accounting, you know, like, or your bookkeeping. Like, there's so many different things that, you know, being a jack of all trades type of person, you know, that's what you turn into.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What do you think has been, you know, one of the, well, let's just say the 3 big learning lessons that you've had to learn starting a business?
You don't know everything. Like, honestly, I was like, whoa, there's so much stuff I don't know. But I think it really leads into the second question, that if you wait to know everything, you will never start. Right. You know, and I think really that's where I was. I was a little bit frozen before I started my journey, and I was just lucky enough to meet a coach who said, Kylie, if you wait until you know everything, you'll never start. You'll be waiting for years, because there's always more to learn. So, you know, have a go. And there's no such thing as failure as my third one. It's all a learning, because nothing is ever going to be perfect. And, you know I tell my clients that, so I've got to walk the talk with those sorts of things as well, that, you know, you don't know everything. If you wait for everything to happen, you'll be waiting a really long time.
That's right.
And there's no such thing as failure. It's all about learning. So they're probably my 3 early day big things that I've kind of come up with, I guess.
And I agree with actually all 3 that you say, because, you know, like, you know, everyone here knows my story, and the fact is that I could have allowed that story to continue to define me, and see it all as failures, whereas now I see them all as learning lessons. Everything that you go through is a learning lesson. And the thing that I really want everyone to take away from is that if you see it as a learning lesson, you can either learn of what is going to agree with you or be in alignment with you for those spiritual people, but then you can also see that what is actually no longer serving you right. And then you can go, I don't want that in my life anymore. But if we hold on to it as failure, well, obviously you literally start to keep repeating it again, because you're not learning from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can just put you in a bit of a tailspin, and again, all of a sudden you freeze and you don't do anything. So there is one more lesson that I did learn. So if I can add a fourth one.
Go for it.
One is and it's a biggie, and it's a biggie that I think you can take away whether you're in business or in a corporate job, or in whatever type of job you're in, is the people that you actually surround yourself with. And you've got some massive champions out there in your, that are cheering you on, but you'll also have people that will try and keep you small and try and hold you back. And it's really important to distinguish those and actually really think about, who do I want to surround myself with? And that's been a really big lesson for me, because I'm a real people pleaser, and I like to be liked. Doesn't everyone?
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, like I've had to learn that, and the big thing is that I heard a message, and I'm sorry if I do get this wrong, but it said, be careful of who you share all of your good achievements with, and also who you share those lessons with as well, because that can literally change as well. It's not about hiding. It's literally me thinking about who I actually want to share those big achievements with, or who I even want to share the tough times with, that are actually going to go, you know what, it sucks right now, and that's okay. So what are you going to do about it? What can you do? Do you need help, or are you okay to get through it?
That's right.
And I think when you go into business, they're the questions you also need to ask. Like, who do I want to share this success with? Who is really going to be truly happy for me, and not go behind our backs and go, oh, can you believe that she did this? Or can you believe she's excited that she made $10? Like,
that's right.
I think it's such a great point that you made. I really do.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a couple more questions, if that's okay.
Absolutely, go for it. That's what I'm here for.
I love it. So I know, obviously, working in corporate and with it, what have you learned about yourself now becoming an entrepreneur?
Oh gosh, really good question. What have I learned? So what have I learned that I probably wish I knew in corporate days, do you think?
No, just more personally about you, like probably your strengths, or something that you realized that you didn't know that you had.
Yeah. I would say doing this type of thing. I would never have done this before. I would never put myself out there and actually really use my voice to share what my thoughts were, what my opinions are, I guess. That's something that I never thought I would do, and probably never thought I could do, really. So that is something that I've learned. So being able to use my voice and confidently, and that's part of the self-development work that I've done, and the people who I've surrounded myself with as well. But that's probably been the number one thing that I've learned. And also just trusting my gut instinct. I think that's the other thing, that every time I don't follow my gut instinct, I think, why didn't I do that? And I was catching up with a client last night, actually, and we had this exact conversation around, she had this feeling, and I said, well, we talked through it all and everything, and it's about, well, what does that feeling mean? And a feeling is an emotion, and we're all allowed to have emotions, but we all get told you can't have emotions. There's stories there that we've got, but you're allowed to have them. You're allowed to express them. You're allowed to, be them. But it's about not letting it stop you from moving forward. And I think in the past, I probably used to stop. I used to allow those things to stop me from moving forward. Whereas now I'm embracing it. And saying, okay, well, this is how I feel. What does that mean? What am I going to do with it? And move forward rather than staying stuck, I guess.
And I love that, because I think so many people feel like they can't express themselves. And what then happens is that we trap the emotions that we actually never, like, and this did happen to me. I literally become numb. Like, I couldn't feel. I didn't know the difference between happiness or joy or sadness or anger because I had stopped speaking. And to know that when you do speak, that you're doing it lovingly. You're not. I rarely know anybody who wakes up in the day. Who am I going to annoy today? Who am I going to upset today? Like,
so true.
I would say that majority, I would say 99.9% of people in the world don't do that.
Absolutely.
So when we're speaking our truths, we also need to learn how to accept it as well. So that we can feel free to do that. So I think that's a really great point that you do when you're not following your passion, when you're not following your purpose, you feel like you can't speak up. You feel like you can't say anything because you don't want to offend people. And as people pleasers, trust me, we do that all the time, okay? So
And it's only hurting you, but also you're not showing your true, authentic self. And you and I just spoke before this. We went live around one of your core values being authenticity, and so if you're not showing your true, authentic self, how can others show that to you either? So it's that there's a two-way street here. It's not just you all giving or the other person giving. It's about a two-way street. So you've got to own who you are, all your emotions, everything about yourself, basically the good, the bad, the ugly. And progress forward with that, but also accept the other person or people around you as well with that, and then make decisions that are informed. And
no, I agree. I think that's a really good point. With your business, which I love, Kylie has the most amazing little logo, which is the Flamingo, which I absolutely love.
It's all pink.
I love it. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question, and to be honest, a question that I think I'm still working through, because I didn't even think I would be here 12 months ago, to be honest. I wanted to be, but I didn't believe it. So I think there was still, there was definitely work that I had to do around that. So in 5 years' time, for me, I still want to be doing a lot of the coaching work and everything. That's just my absolute passion and I guess, what I love to do, what lights me up. But I really want to get into probably some group coaching and helping organisations, because I think there's different things that we can do with employees and how they run their careers and those sorts of things, where we can get really great engagement and experience for them, and hopefully help people before they go into cases like performance management and those sorts of things. So this is really bringing out my HR sort of side of things, because I do have a HR background. I don't want to be a HR person per se, but it's using all of those skills in a coaching way to be able to help people and organizations and leaders really develop awesome lives for themselves, if that makes sense. So
that work-life balance again, to bring it back in and bring their passion back into what they're doing at work.
And how I do that, I think that's what I'm still kind of working through. And as I think it'll evolve.
It does.
But to be able to travel around the world, work from anywhere, that's where I see myself heading, and just having some fun too. Like life doesn't have to be serious all the time.
Oh, 100% with that. So I think my son said to me, he said it to me last year, and he actually said it to me a couple of months ago. So when are you going to get a real job, Mum? And I'm like, okay, I do have a real job because I actually love what I do. Like, you know, and you know, to his credit, all he had known is that Mum would just go to work. Mum would work her 10, 12-hour days, and then she would come home.
Yeah.
So the last 7 years, and especially the last 4 years of having a business, for him to see that, it's very, very difficult. So look, my son is 25, so he is a grown ass person. I shouldn't have said ass, sorry. I do apologize, but he's a grown man, so he gets it. But, you know, it's just more the fact that it's interesting to see how perceptions with other people of what they see of what you do can, you know, to put that out there. And that sort of comes back to that question we're talking about, is be careful of who you share things with as well, because they're not all going to get it. So I just, what you said before is like, just do you, have fun with your business, have fun with life. Because I actually think that you make more money, but you have more enjoyment when you're actually allowing the fun into it.
Yep. And I think a lesson that I've learned is, you know, I if you focus and become too serious, it just becomes all consuming, and then you actually don't move anywhere because you're so focused on it being perfect or going a particular way. And if it's not, then you get disappointed. But in reality, you've probably moved forward without even realizing, but you're not focused on that. And you're not celebrating those small wins, and you're not having fun around it. So yeah, and I think, you know, the businesses that we both have, they're not 9 to 5 jobs. So, you know, you can sleep until 10 o'clock if you want to, or and work at night time. So, but not everyone is going to get that, because you know, the majority of people do work that 9 to 5 type of you know, hours, and you know, that's the world that we both come from as well. So,
And that's sort of, you know, the, you know, what I've grown up with is like, you know, you go to school, you get a job, and when you retire, that's when you have fun. So to actually have fun and work is a totally new concept, especially for people, you know, in a sort of my age range. I think a lot of some of the younger people are starting to get that now and really embracing that, which is just super amazing. But as I said, it took me into my 40s to actually work it out.
Absolutely. And you know, I think for me as well, you know, we're both the same age, so I think you know, we've kind of, we really do have pretty similar stories when it comes to that. And you know, when I first started my business, you talked about the flamingo earlier around, that was my little logo. I started off with a butterfly because I just absolutely love butterflies, but it was that transformation that you go through. But I felt the need to change it to a flamingo, because a flamingo is all about being graceful and beautiful and those sorts of things. And because I was an ex-dancer, I loved that concept of, you know, just going with the flow. But it also is about standing up, you know, standing up for yourself and being yourself. And so that's actually what it represents, and exactly what you just said is be yourself, and just have fun. And that's kind of what flamingos and those sorts of things represent for me. And it's just it's a nice way to, I think about how to run your business, I guess, rather than you've just got to make a profit all the time, you know.
Yes, exactly. I see it now that, like, the business, when I first started it, I always wanted it to be a legacy. It's something that I can leave behind to let people know that, because when I was going through everything, there really wasn't anything out there. And I think in the last couple of years, we've been so fortunate that a lot of people have been so brave and courageous to start sharing their stories. To help inspire people. And this is actually why I really wanted to do the book too, which I'm so grateful that Kylie is in this book. And I'm going to pop all the links, you can go and grab it. I'm just trying to find your chapter. But to me, this is why we want people to actually stand strong, because take a look at this. So beautiful. So lovely. And her title of her chapter is actually Rediscovering the Girl in the Yellow Tutu, which you talked about, you know, dancing and that. And it's coming back to that, coming back to the childhood things that we love, because we get so caught up in life and we forget about all the things we love. We forget about having fun.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
you know, I crank the music up like in the car, and some guys looking at me coming here going, oh, I'm singing along. And like, I think we just need to be who we are and embrace every little part of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. And the more I have stepped into who I am, the clearer it becomes around what I want to do in life. And I go back to an earlier question that you had around, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And like I said, I'm still sort of figuring that out. But for the next 12 months, you know, I'm pretty clear on what I want to do, and you know that's a good thing for now. And it's around using all of your experience that you've had in life, and then trying to help other people. And you know, for me, it's when you're in your midlife, there's no rule book about how you live.
No.
But there's so much stuff that happens in our midlife that, it can be chaos, you know.
Yes, definitely.
And, you know, I think similar to you, there's nowhere to find that. There's how do you help? So, you know, that's kind of the direction that I'm heading in, like similar to you. It's how do you help people step out of corporate and into their passion?
Yeah.
For me, it's about how do you navigate midlife and just have fun and freedom and everything else that you might want to achieve while still doing what you need to be doing.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. I simply adore you. I think you're one of the most beautiful human beings. Thank you so much for being here in person. I'm going to pop all the links where you can reach out to Kylie. She is an amazing coach, but just a very authentic, genuine person as well. So if you are trying to navigate life, if you're trying to think of what you want to do, definitely reach out to Kylie. You'll be able to get in, have a look at her chapter in the book as well. She's also going to be in the April issue of the Corporate Escapists magazine. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you so much, beautiful, for being here.
Thank you. And thanks for, like, it's been so nice to do it in person as well. You know, it is nice. After the last couple of years, it's been really nice.
It has.
So,
it has.
Thank you.
So thank you everyone who has watched this episode. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you've got any questions, please comment below. Both Kylie and I will reach out, respond back to you, or you can follow us on our socials as well. Remember to live life to the fullest every single day. Love and light to you all.
Bye.